to the Chromatic Data Visualization Project. Data visualization is the odd couple marriage of facts plus art. And that marriage intersection produces charts, graphs, maps, and other kinds of artwork at the intersection of words, numbers, images, and design. So this is kind of like a new area of artistry, relatively, and it actually employs a lot of artists cha-ching. Because of this phone thing that we carry around, we're collectively generating a huge number, blob, cloud of data every day. And probably the evil overlords think that they can track our actual souls by all that clicking and scrolling and looking at things. But I believe that we are more than what we click on. Am I right? So a couple examples of this new area of artwork. Look, there's actually literally like books about it and everything. You might have seen these knitted blankets, maybe that your wacky aunt is making, called a temperature quilt. The person takes the temperature every day and then uses a different kind of color for every degree of temperature. So when they're all knitted together, it's like a picture of the season. This one is called the air particulate necklace. And it's an artist who has measured the amount of pollution in the air every day and then created a bead for each day that shows how much pollution is in the air. And you can see that bright red bead is from bonfire night, coincidentally my son Amos's birthday, when all over the United Kingdom they have big bonfires, so there was a lot of pollution in the air. So the project that we're going to work on, the Chromatic Data Project, is the brainchild of my former high school intern, Giovanna Lisa, who's now an art student at Pratt University. And this is an ongoing, huge collaborative project. The two little individual tiles that you make will be part of a big, beautiful community portrait. But the portrait is of the insides of our heads as opposed to the outsides of us. So your assignment in this project, if you choose to accept it, which I hope you will, is to think hard for a minute about two areas of your life. I want you to think of one thing that stresses you out and one thing that gives you strength. And usually, as soon as I say the word stress, something pops right into your head. That's all those things that bum us out, grind your gears, wear you down. We probably spend way too much time thinking about those things. And on the other side, the thing or the activity or even the idea that gives you joy, that makes it worth getting up in the morning, that lightens your load, that makes you smile, those are your strengtheners or your supports. So I hope you have a lot of those to choose from too. If it helps, probably when I said that, something popped into your head, so I want you to write that down, whatever jumps into your head. And you can list more than one thing if you want to on a piece of paper. Maybe you have one of our worksheets. And you might have a whole bunch of ideas, but I want you to pick the best one, the biggest one, the main thing that is giving you joy and stressing you out. Two different things. And here's the thing. Your name is not going to be on the front of this. And you don't have to spell out exactly what's going on if you don't want to. You can even represent it in a very abstract way so that you can make things about even something that's very embarrassing or personal if you want. I have some examples. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, the next part, the hardest part, actually, it's the only part of this thing that you can possibly get wrong, and you actually can't even get this wrong, is you're going to assign a color code to each topic. This is something that happens in data visualization. We're pretty familiar with like red states and blue states, right? We know that there's a color code for each political party, and that's how we keep track of what's going on. So in this project, we have 7 different colors. Each one represents an area of your life. So you have to decide which one of those areas your stressful thing belongs in and which area your strength thing fits into. Okay, so we have these 7 colors. If it's inside of yourself, that's pink. If it's something in your family, that's red. If it's your friends, that's orange. If it's something at school, within school, that's yellow. If it's an activity that's like a hobby or a sport or something that you do that's neither work nor school, that is green. Blue is work. And purple is for the wider world. So that's stuff outside of your own personal life, like something that you might see through the screen, news, world events, weather, technology, stuff like that. So if you get stuck, just go with your first instinct if you can't decide something, and you can also ask for help. Here's the thing, don't cheat and change your topic just so you can use your favorite color. I see you, purple people. Don't just go to purple just because you want to make a purple thing. You've got to stick with whatever color you're given. Here's your vocabulary word of the day. Monochromatic. That means mono means one, chroma means color, so that means one color. Now, obviously, if you make a completely one color piece of art, we've all heard the joke of like, what's this a picture of? It's a snowman in a snowstorm, and it's just a white piece of paper. So if you were going to draw a yellow school bus on a yellow piece of paper using the same color of yellow, it would be invisible. It would be an invisible school bus. So obviously, you need to use a little bit of other colors in your monochromatic work. It's not just one solid color all the way across. What we usually end up with is something that's your main color. So it's like the base color, you can color on top of it. Obviously, you can, if you're using paint, you can take your main color and you can make it darker. That's called a hue by adding black or other colors that make it darker. Or you can make it a lighter color. That's called a tint, adding white or a lighter color. So if you have red and you add yellow, it's going to make it orangey and it'll be lighter. You can use that. And you can also use little accents of other colors. I'll show you some examples. That's totally allowed. So the first example I'm going to show you is by my son Amos. This is his self-portrait, and he actually titled it Green. And you can see all of the little colors that went into it, lots of different kinds of green and types of green. And he even added some other little subtle colors and then the little red drawings on the top. But when you look at the whole thing, your first impression is green. And that's why, obviously, he titled it Green. So take your time. Remember that your tile can be realistic or it can be abstract. It can be all pictures. It can contain words. I'm going to show you some examples. So you can guess, is this a happy thing or a sad thing? This is blue. So that means the category of work. And it looks to me like the person's fairly bummed out. And yes, in fact, it is a stressor. And it was about work. And you can see there's some words on there, 5:30 a.m. The person doesn't like to get up early for work. Whereas this nice little painting I can see on the back is a support. And that looks to me like the woods, a flower garden, something outside nature. The person's not stating exactly what it is. Maybe it's their backyard, maybe it's an imaginary place, maybe it's someplace they went with a friend, maybe it's a vacation, we don't know. This one is really interesting because it's got some 3D elements on it. I don't know if you can see the way that the light is working on it, but this is definitely a stressor. This was in the category of self, which is red, and these little jibbity jobs on here, little sculptural elements, I think they were made with modeling clay, look like eyeballs, and then the person is like, has a hole in their face. So what is this about? We can only guess, we can only imagine. We don't know their name. It's not giving anything overly personal away, but it has a mood. And what I like about this project is the ability to portray stressfulness or happiness, even with, limited amounts of information. I like this one. This looks like a younger kid maybe, and it's in the category of school. And I think that I can relate to this. I could have all these good grades, but one bad grade is like, wah, 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 echoing in my head. So that was a pretty fast, simple thing, not a lot of detail, somewhat abstract, but we totally get the idea. And this is one of my favorites in the other direction. This is in the category of family. And I believe that that's the person that made the artwork. And I love that they have their two family members. Don't know if those are two dads or uncles or brothers or who those people are, but I can feel the comfort of the person in the middle with those two pillars of strength next to them. And I think that you can see from these examples, I happen to pick some that are by some pretty good artists, I think. There's some that are realistic, some are more abstract. You do you. Again, you can use collage elements, you can use sculptural elements, you can put fabric on there, you can do all words, whatever it takes to communicate. The main thing is that you have it in the color. When you're done, this is where your artwork becomes part of the entire data set. When we line up everything that everyone has created and we group the things by color, it's like a window into the emotional world of the particular community at that time and place. So you can see what the biggest stressors are for the community and what the biggest strengths are. You can see some ways that other people find strength. You can appreciate what the stressors are for people that you don't even know. It's like a snapshot of the insides of the emotional temperature of the entire group or community. And it's interesting when if you're working on this by yourself, you're not really aware of what everybody else is doing until you put them all up on the wall at the same time. It's really kind of fun. And then you realize, either, oh wow, everybody's stressed out about the same kinds of things, or like, ooh, some people have that going on and other people have this going on, or like, ooh, I should try some of that for strengthening. We hope that it lends insight to everyone in the community and that it helps you compare your insides to other people's insides instead of comparing your outsides to other people's outsides. For that reason, I call it the anti-Instagram, because it's about communicating what is inside of you. So I hope you have fun. It's just one little thing, one little activity that you can do to get you to reflect a little bit about what's going on inside of you. And I'm so grateful for your participation, because each individual person has to make something for us to be able to see what's going on with the whole group. And I hope that you have a great day and that you find some fun in this. Don't forget to stay alive is job one. Make art, that's job two. Love you. Bye.